Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so did a Laker video this morning on the Blazer game tonight in Portland, and just figured I'd let my mouth go in regards to the Lakers some more, see what happens in regards to content here. But you know, the one thing that I'm concerned with tonight is just, you know, after doing homework on the Blazers, and you guys will see how I broke it down, I just think that this is a game that looks like a trap game for those who are not studying it, and a very concerning game for those who are, based on the information that we have about the Blazers playing so well at home, going up to altitude, basically scoring well up there, even though in losing efforts, and then coming back here on a 3-game losing streak, which can make you think that they're not the team that they were when they were at home. When in actuality, they probably played pretty well for a team that's tanking on the road, who had just come off a 7-game winning streak at home. So it's like, when you look at all of that, and you look at how the Lakers have been playing and the struggles that we're trying to figure out, incorporating new identity, players that are, you know, not quite used to playing with one another, big pieces like Luka Doncic who are not, and LeBron James who are not used to playing with one another, having the bulk of the load to help the team be as good as they need to be. When you consider all of that put together, it's not looking great for this particular matchup when you consider we played a back-to-back last night in a different city. So there's a lot of things working against the Lakers on this one. I'll be very impressed if they can get a victory tonight. Very impressed, especially given how bad they played. And I know they're going to be on high alert because you just lost to the Jazz and to the Charlotte Hornets. But this ain't a regular bad team. This is not what you would consider a normal stretch for a tanking squad. They've been really, really playing well for the last month. And they have really, really talented defensive centers. And so that means that they're going to likely try to create you plenty of opportunities to stay out of their paint. And not only that, but you didn't shoot well yesterday. One thing I'm hoping for is, because this team hasn't played, we played last night, and we've had 7 days of rest. They're coming off of 8 days of rest. Hopefully they're still rusty. Hopefully their confidence is shot by losing them games on the road, that they'll just continue to play not good enough to beat us. But if they tap back into who they've been, especially at home, we're going to run into a good defensive Blazer team, and we are not shooting well. So when you consider that they're a athletic young team with defensive strengths, offensive capabilities as well, and you consider how our offense is in disarray and our defense is terrible right now, when you consider how much they've been scoring these last 3 games, even though they've been losing, above 110 points in each of these games, and you consider how poorly we've been defending, it's like, yo, this is a perfect storm of all bad for the LA Lakers. And I don't want to be caught off guard by that. I don't want anybody who follows me to be caught off guard by that. And I certainly don't want our team and coaching staff to be caught off guard by that. Because this is the exact type of game, the second of a back-to-back, against a tanking team where you probably didn't do your due diligence. And I'm hopeful that the fact that we lost 2 games against tanking teams would make it so that we're on high alert. But, you know, I don't know. The fact that we lost to those 2 tanking teams may make you feel like we're on a slump. And even being on high alert, we may not play well. So, yeah, this is going to be a defining game for the Lakers, because it's the last of what we consider a soft stretch, and we're losing the tail end of the soft stretch. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Now we got the Denvers and the Houstons and Milwaukee's. You know, got some tough games ahead. There's only 29 games left, if I'm not mistaken. So this is going to be, really tough to try to keep ourselves above that 6th spot, in my opinion, man. It's going to be tough. And I'm glad we went on the stretch we did right before we started losing these 2 games that we just lost here, where we won a bunch of games in a row. That was really, really helpful for our circumstances. But now's the time we start understanding that the few that we did drop, I don't know if you can make up those games, man. Can you steal another one against New York? Can you steal another one against Boston? Can you steal an OKC win at the end of the season? Can you win both of those Dallas games that are coming up? win both of them Chicago games. Like, you got to win. You got to win a few games you're not supposed to, and you got to win all the games that you're expected to. And right now, we're losing to the likes of the Jazz and the Hornets. So, while a lot of people are saying it's not, I've heard some say, yo, we're sounding the horn on panic mode a little too much because these guys got to work themselves into the equation. Luka got to get back in shape. Once we have that going on, we're going to be good. It's like, that's factual. But I would say to you, seeding is important, and path toward the best possible seeding is important. You don't want to just play any old body on the road. You know, as is, you're likely going to have to play Denver or Houston. You do not want to play either one of those teams on the road, to be honest with you. Not with the weaknesses that we have. Not with the issues we've had with Denver, and not with the athleticism issues we have with Houston. No. Maybe it's Memphis. You don't want to start that series in Memphis. Y'all know how Memphis gets up for us. Even though we've had a lot of success against them, right now they have more depth than us. So it's like, and we don't have Anthony Davis to terrorize them. So it's like, I need home court advantage more than maybe I needed it when my team was a bit more stable. When my stars were expected to be able to carry the load a bit more than right now they're able to. We need that crowd behind us. We need to start the series off with home court advantage, in my opinion. So I don't know if we're going to be able to do that at all, given our circumstances right now. And that is concerning for me. I don't want to get knocked out in the first round again at all. I do not want to see that be our fate. And right now, you know, the way things are slotted, I don't know if we're favored to win that first matchup, to be honest with you. I don't know that we are, especially with our center position being as deficient as it is. You know, Alex Len, we gave 10 minutes to yesterday. He had 1 rebound. I don't think he made too many mistakes, so that's encouraging. But we are going to need him to find his way, and rather quickly. Jackson Hayes is just Jackson Hayes. He's going to be Jackson Hayes. He's been playing pretty well, but for his standards, he's still a backup. Like, you know what I mean? He's still a backup guy. This would be great if we had a starter and he was giving us the same stuff. But that he's our starter, it's rough. I would love the Lakers to be a bit more open-minded about what our team looks like if we utilize Koloko more. Because I just think that the rim protection aspect of things, when you have a bad defensive unit, for which right now I don't think our unit is very good defensively, he gives us one more defensive piece in there that can be consistently placed in the rotation to help us get stops here and there. I think that that's probably more important than maybe what Alex Len is expected to do in being a big body. If Alex Len can't play any defense, he's not particularly rebounding the ball, he's not particularly scoring the ball, he's not particularly doing anything. At least with Koloko, for all of his deficiencies with size, his hands aren't great, he doesn't stretch the floor, all of that, at least I know when somebody drives at the rim, he's got a decent chance of contesting and being effective in contesting those shots. And he's a young player himself, who's probably in better condition than a guy like this Alex Len. So I want Alex Len to get opportunities. I've already made a video saying I'm hoping he's able to kind of find his way. But I'm also concerned that Alex Len is probably not the right type of piece for the deficiencies that are already in place with the players that are going to be on the floor when that backup is on the floor. So do I feel a hell of a lot better about our defense when we got Gabe Vincent, Vando, Dodo, and Len? Or is it better to have Koloko in those situations? I think it's very obviously Koloko. Very obviously Koloko. And so that's where I'm at. I just don't really think that even Alex Len in a good version of him gives me a better look than Koloko does when he's playing well. I don't think that gives me a better look based on what everything else is going on our roster. So yeah, that's my take on that. I think we should get Koloko in there and try to get him about 15-20 minutes a night and maybe move Len to where Koloko's at right now. Also, when you consider the defensive deficiencies, we haven't waived Cam Reddish. I don't know if he's got some personal stuff going on that's keeping him away from the game, or if it's he's in the doghouse. I don't know. But the fact that we were able to retain him and to have the defensive issues that we have, I think he should probably be sprinkled in there too. Because if he, for all that he does poorly offensively, which is probably overstated, if I'm being honest with you, he's a damn talented defensive player, man. And so now that we got the defensive issues we don't have Anthony Davis. I think we need to reimagine what Reddish could bring to our defense at this point. I think it makes a lot of sense to remember that he's a defensive player that can really help you. And so I don't know if he's away from the game, period. He may be. I didn't see him down there on the bench these last couple games. And I know we added him into that trade, so we're ready to move on from him. But, when you bring him back, you understand that he's to help you defensively around the perimeter. And you couple that with Vincent, you couple that with Dodo, you couple that with Vando, and all of a sudden you got some really talented defensive units as opposed to the opposite. So that's going to be a thing for the Lakers. Can you figure out how to defend? Can you figure out how to get enough defensive talent on the floor that fits with Luka, so that while he's trying to figure out what he needs to do to be successful with this team, we're able to get some stops? And this is something else that needs to be considered. There have been far too many situations over the last 2 games where we've had Luka Doncic trying to guard talented guards. I don't need Luka Doncic in front of Lonzo Ball or LaMelo Ball, rather, for any reason. It doesn't make any sense to me. When you consider his defensive deficiencies and his conditioning deficiencies, there's absolutely no reason to put him in front of one of the best guards in the league. You don't do that. You hide him in those situations. You don't put him on those guys, especially down the stretch. And I know a lot of what's going on is switching, but this is why you don't switch every damn thing. So they can't hunt him out and utilize him to their advantage. This is not acceptable. Especially when you're going up against bad teams that you must beat. The circumstances we're in, you don't never want to see Luka Doncic, fresh off injury, already out of shape, trying to stand in front of LaMelo Ball. I don't want him standing in front of LaMelo Ball when he's in shape, whatever that look like. I don't want him doing that with a hamstring. I thought that, and we saw it multiple times. It wasn't just down the stretch. We saw him trying to stand in front of those people multiple times. So that is crazy to me. Dallas never asked him to do that. They would put other people on him, have him guarding bigs, have him guarding forwards. That's the only way to play Luka. I know he's a point guard, but not defensively. Defensively, he is not a point guard. And asking him to guard point guards defensively, there's a reason why Dallas didn't do it. So that's something I think is that's extremely important, man. We need to get our act together when it comes to stuff like that. That was unacceptable. I don't know what the hell we were thinking last night. I really don't. And I guess we thought we had traded away the free throw demon when we traded away Anthony Davis. I guess we need to rethink that, because we still got Rui Hachimura, and he definitely missed both of those key free throws down the stretch of this game. And we got too many different things going wrong with us for us to have that particular issue as well, you guys. I was going to be honest with you. We got too many things that are working against us for us to not be able to hit the free throw at a high clip. We have got to hit our free throws as a unit. It ain't just about Rui. It's about anybody putting on a uniform. Spend some time on that aspect of your game so that we can have ourselves a better bit of confidence down the stretch when we need to win at the line. Because I've seen it too many times as I study these numbers where teams shoot poorly from the free throw line and lose basketball games. They go together. They go hand in hand, man. You could do a lot of things right, mess up at the line, and still lose in this league. So we need to respect that a bit more when we get to that damn line. Because that was pretty deflating. We had a chance to tie the game up, and we missed both of them, and we lost the game. So I think that should be something that everybody thinks about, including Rui, who missed those shots. And in the early turnovers, man, we don't want to dig ourselves in the hole. I understand that we have Luka Doncic, and he is historically not the greatest turnover guy. So is LeBron James, both not good turnover guys. So that's going to make our turnovers go up. That's just the strength of what it is that we're going to be going forward as a team that probably turns it over a bit more than the Anthony Davis team. But Luka is going to have to, he's going to have to reel it in, man. You have to reel it in. keep it simple when you don't know your teammates, bro. Keep it simple. You're not down there with Kyrie and guys that you know very well, man. You got to keep it simple. These people don't know you. You can't just be throwing the ball all over the place. Some of them lead off passes that require someone to run toward the ball to get it. Don't even attempt those. Don't even attempt those. Like the one that he led off to Bron. He passed the ball as if Bron was going to catch it in stride and drive at the rim. Bron didn't have that in mind at all. And that ball went right. Unacceptable, man. Luka shouldn't even be attempting that stuff. You ain't never played with this guy like that. You don't know that he wants to catch that ball in stride. In that situation, he's probably looking to do a triple threat. And then from there, probably looking to shoot the three. He's not looking to catch and run. This guy's 40 years old. And see, that's the thing. It's like, yes, LeBron is super athletic, but he does like to temper some of his energy, particularly early in the game. He ain't looking to drive every game, especially against the damn Charlotte Hornets at the 7-minute mark, bro. No. He's trying to conserve his energy so he has it. And so a guy like Luka, being the all-world playmaker, needs to be able to sense that, man. Passing him a ball that he has to sprint to catch, man. No, hell no. All them early sprint, full court, easy layup. Nah, man, Bron, that's exerting too much energy for Bron, man. I know that those are easy buckets, and I know he's probably the fastest player to catch those. But if you ask him to do that too much, he ain't going to have a whole lot of energy. We can't. That's not something we can utilize too much. You may be able to get it off, but you don't want him. He's the one usually throwing those to AD. We don't really want him having to sprint down the floor in the first quarter like that too often. It's not good for him at this age, man. And so that's what I want to say to Luka. We are aware that LeBron is a fast, athletic player. But at this age, we got to pick and choose when we want him to exert that energy so that he has it. And that needs to be in the playmaker's minds at all times. All times. We ain't throwing no full court passes to Bron 3 times in a row. We're not asking him to dunk on somebody like he did Williams in the first quarter. No. Because he got to conserve that energy not only for the game he's in, but for the future. And so that's why it's like, this is why I want Luka to keep it simple, because a lot of stuff he's trying to do is off the concept of what people can do, not necessarily what makes sense for what it is we want them to do. And that's what I think is going to be the learning curve for Luka. Excited because he got LeBron James on his team, but LeBron ain't 25 years old, bro. He's not. And so you got to play with a certain sense of care as it pertains to that. And if you don't, you ain't gonna get the most out of him, and you're gonna be down there by yourself. And that's something you do not want if you're Luka Doncic, especially not in the shape he's in. You don't want that. And so, yeah, that's what I think, man. I think the Los Angeles Lakers are going to be in a much better position if they just ask Bron to do less earlier in these basketball games and let him dictate how much of the energy he wants to exert in situations. Because I think we've been asking him to do too much early on, in these, especially these games against bad teams that we shouldn't even be playing any damn way. You know, the Fire is postponed and he should be at home on a night like that. So that's really what it is. I just think that Luka's gonna, and that's the thing, we got to be careful asking Luka to understand too much, because even though he's an all-world player, he's still a young person. 25 years of age, just turned 26 or getting ready to turn 26. There's a learning curve for him to have understanding about these type of things. He may not be 100% locked in and focused because of what just happened and what he just had happen, getting traded and stuff like that. So it's a lot that has to be worked into the equation for him to be as sharp and as focused and as knowledgeable as he's going to be. You know, the 1 for 8 up, that's not good for the Lakers. Shooting from 1 for 9 or whatever it was from behind the arc, that's not good for the Lakers. We're not in the greatest position night in and night out to attempt 51 threes and expect to win basketball games. I know we have a new identity because Anthony Davis is no longer on this roster. and we picked up Luka Don. He's replacing Anthony Davis, so I have to, and the team has to, reimagine what they're going to be going forward, because that main constant superstar is a different person. So maybe we do shoot 53s a night, but if we do, it can't be the way that we shot them in the last game. It can't be Rui taking 8 of them, only hitting 1. Luka taking 9 of them, only hitting 1. Dalton taking 4 of them, only hitting 1. It's not. You can't win that way. Not against the Hornets, and definitely not against good teams. So we got to figure that out, man. I did not like our shot diet last night. We were far too quick to chuck threes. And it wasn't like they had Klingon or Robert Williams in the paint or Wemby or something like that. They had, the other Williams who doesn't play defense. Nurkic, who's 106 years old. There's no reason for us to be attempting so many threes, man. No reason. And so that's really where I'm at with that. I just thought some of them threes was lazy. Guys taking shots instead of driving at the rim when they had opportunities to do so. Conditioning will allow for us to think that way, but for the time being, just got to move the ball around instead of some of these step backs and trying to get in rhythm, clanking and stuff. We don't win doing that. And so that's what I want to say. We don't win doing that. And that's really what it is. I like some of the passes that we had toward Rui in the paint. I think Luka got excited getting Rui the ball a couple times, and I think that should be something we continue to look to do. I think we should try to use Dalton Connect on cuts and things like that. I don't think we're utilizing him yet properly. He should be on the floor with defensive players and Luka. Dodo, Vando, Bron, Dalton, Luka type stuff. And then have Connect be a guy that finishes plays in the paint, finishes plays around the mid-range, getting his three-point shot off. We need to utilize Dalton Connect. The same thing I used to say about Rui when we were getting him less than 9 attempts, he'd walk away with 4 out of 5 and stuff like that. Now we fixed that problem with Rui, but we have that problem with Dalton, in my opinion. We got to get Dalton his consistent looks, and he probably should be taking about 7 shots a game. And there's something like 3 of them should probably be in the interior off of cuts, off-ball cuts, because he's really good at that stuff, man. Catch people lacking, cutting at the rim, off of screens, back cuts and stuff like that. He's really good at that kind of stuff. Dunking on people. I like that for Dalton Connect. We got to utilize his offense, get him in some type of rhythm, and then ramp up his attempts. And so that's my thinking. I think if we can get him to be a dangerous offensive player by the end of the season, come playoff time, he's going to have one of them 30-point games that blows the game open. But if we don't continue to, if we're going to continue to utilize him the way that we have, he's probably going to continue to be a non-factor throughout the course of the season. I just think a lot of that has to do with what our intentions are with him. So that's what I want to see. We got to start, like we did for Rui, turn our attention to Dalton and get him worked into the offensive equation, and do not have his defensive deficiencies accentuated by the players on the floor with him. Because if you got him on the floor with non-defensive players, you are going to hemorrhage points. So that's why it's so important he be on the floor with the Gabe Vincents and Dodos and some people like that. He needs to be on the floor with these people. You can't have him out there next to Austin and Luka, and then it'd be like Rui. No, hell no. You're asking for it. And so, we're going to have to figure our rotations out on the fly, and every game matters, which is unfortunate, but this is the job, JJ. It's the job, brother. This is the job. And I think he's done a pretty good job, if you ask me. Given all the change and the different things and the distractions in the media and everything that has to be, fires to everything that happened in his life personally. It's a lot that JJ has tried to balance throughout the course of this one season. It probably feels like 2 seasons to him. And I respect that. He did a great job at learning the last unit we had and getting them to play in a stellar way, which is why I don't doubt he can do the same thing with this team. Unfortunately, it may take just as long, though. Took him half a season to learn that team. Then we traded the key pieces away, and now he has to try to figure this one out, so it may take half a season as well. I'm not in love with that notion, given the fact these games do matter. But by that pace, by the time we're in the playoffs, we may be clicking again. Just got to make the damn playoffs. So I'm happy with JJ. He's exceeded my expectations. He's been a really good rookie coach. And I think we've thrown a lot at him, more so than maybe other coaches in his position would have had thrown at them. And, yeah, man, I'm glad Darvin is in Milwaukee. Very glad that is the case. So, you know, I mean, what else is there to consider? I really like how Gabe Vincent's been hitting shots, man. He's really worked himself into being a productive player after being Cardi G for the first half of the season. I love where he's at. I just pray he stays healthy and continues doing what he's doing because he's been really good for us. And it's a far cry from what we were saying at the beginning of the season. And I just like where we're at with him. I trust him to be one of our most important defensive players. And as long as he's hitting shots, he's exactly what we want on our team. Exactly what we want. So we're in a good stretch with him, and it's all about health going forward. You just got to keep him healthy. And Dorian Finney-Smith has played really good as well, to say the least, actually. He's been really efficient from behind the arc after starting off somewhat a little cold there. Now he's starting to catch the ball with a whole lot of confidence, hitting a lot of threes. And, of course, defensively, he really helps us. I don't look for him to do a whole lot in the box score. That's not really what you turn to him for. But just the same, he really does help us. And he's pretty loud out there, and that's a good thing. I like the talking that I'm seeing. Guys are talking on defense. Like I said, Luka has struggled on the offensive end, and we don't expect much from him defensively. But because we don't, I think he's exceeded expectations. I like the talking. I see him out there calling out screens. I see him out there trying to be efficient in switches and stuff like that. I understand he had some switching mistakes last night that were pointed out on the program I was watching. But overall, I think his effort's been pretty good, especially when you consider how much it affects the mental when the body isn't moving very well. You know, I think that I know how this feels very well. When you're feeling so much pain and drag in your physical that it's hard to focus on the mental aspects of the game. This is why getting in the best conditioning possible is so important for an athlete, because you don't find yourself sharing mental space with the pain that comes with trying to do things. You can focus on the X's and O's of the game a bit more when your body's on autopilot, moving at a great speed. This is why I think Luka getting in shape is so important for him, because a lot of what he does requires for him to be sharp mentally. And if he's hurting, his side is hurting, his legs is hurting, his wind ain't there, he's huffing and puffing, you're thinking about that along with trying to balance out what's going on with the game. So as someone pointed out on the content, they were saying, yo, he was slow to rotate. You got to be smarter than that. That boy's in pain. So it's hard to think when you're in pain. When you're laboring and you're exhausted, the mental goes with that. And that's why I think he made some rather poor decisions in certain situations, is because he's laboring. And once he gets in better shape, he ain't thinking about that labor anymore that's not in place. Now he can just focus on the game. So that's why, for a million other reasons, but that's also why he needs to get in shape. And as he gets in shape, you ain't gonna see him make too many mistakes. And so that's my point of view. I'm very thankful that we have him. I think being careful with him while he's getting in shape is going to be the most important thing for him. And then as we are careful with him, the most important thing for us, and as we are careful with him, he'll need less care in that way going forward. But for the rest of the season, and depending on what type of offseason he has, will determine just how careful we're going to have to be with him and his minutes, with what we're asking him to do, with putting him in front of certain people, leaving him out there to get cooked and stuff like that. You gotta not have him in those types of situations. And so that's my point of view in regards to Luka. I think you can do a lot of good with him if you sacrifice some of these expectations right now and get him on the program that allow him to get in the type of shape that allow him to not have to think about his body while he's trying to figure out things on the court. And so yeah, that's a really important nugget there. So yeah, man, that's what's been on my mind. Austin Reaves getting kicked out the game yesterday. It might have cost us the game, even though he wasn't necessarily playing that great. I think he was really showing up on the defensive end in the stat sheet with two blocks and a steal in a game where we were getting, Luka trying to stay in front of LaMelo Ball, having cold shooting nights from both Rui and Luka. LeBron really needed Austin out there, man. Him getting himself kicked out of that game, whether it was a legitimate way of getting kicked out or not, that really hurt us. In a game we couldn't afford to lose him, we expect him to keep his cool 100% of the time. It was the first time he had ever got kicked out of a game. And I know it's been frustrating with all this change, especially to his role. You figure where he was at against the Pacers, going for 45 points with the ball in his hands 100% of the time, we were winning. Now they take the ball out of his hands, all of a sudden we're losing. He has to do all types of sacrificing. I know he ain't having a great time right now, but you still need him to be at a high level in order for this team to succeed, especially while we're trying to figure things out. We need him for every quarter. Every quarter. And so that's what I say to Austin, man. That's something that we really can't let happen anymore, man. It's never happened before, and it can't happen again, because at the end of the day, you are far too important to what we're trying to do. And you getting kicked out of these basketball games, especially as sensitive as standings are right now, costing us losses. Nah, bro. Hell nah. We got to get our act together in that regard. And we got to keep it together. And that's all. That goes for everybody, but especially for our key pieces, LeBron, Luka, and Austin. We need y'all on the floor, and we need y'all on the floor healthy. So for Austin, he's going to have to just, dig deep and be ready for the sacrifices that he's always asked to make for this unit, for this roster, for this organization. Luka, dig deep. Be patient with your body, but also put in the work and damn near kill yourself in the gym to make sure that your conditioning is where it needs to be. You got to put in more work than you ever have, bro, or we're not going to get the most out of what we need from you. And LeBron James, pick your spots as you have been doing. Pass up some of them long three-point shots, which I think you've been doing a good job of. Not turn the ball over, which you did a great job of in these last couple games. And just continue to be patient with these guys, man. Anthony Davis ain't out there no more, so it's incumbent upon you to just keep your cool, keep your patience, keep your high energy, keep your high spirits. You know what I mean? I know this ain't probably what you would have chosen, but I do think our ceiling overall is higher if we can get that Luka piece in the position to be his best. I think the balancing act is difficult, but I think you've been through everything twice, so this shouldn't be too much at this point. And so that's what I would say to LeBron. We just got to get through these difficulties, keep carrying our team, keep taking care of yourself, keep your stride, keep being an example for Luka. Don't get impatient with him, because his mind's going to have to catch up and then his body will follow. So if he don't take well to a lot of what you're saying early, the lessons will come from not following that wisdom, and then he'll turn his attention to you and follow you from there. That's how that usually goes. That's exactly how they usually go with young people when it's time to follow a 40-year-old guy and say, look, this is what you need to do to be happy with yourself. They don't do it. They're unhappy with themselves. Then they come back around and say, now, what did you say then? That's what I would tell Bron. Be patient with Luka. I don't know if he's taking well to what you're asking him to do or not. He's probably still stepping on eggshells at this point, because he don't want to step on your toes. But more than anything, I just think you need to stay as supportive as you've been, as upbeat as you've been, and as energetic as you've been, man. I think LeBron's done a really good job since this trade of playing well, of being patient, of putting out the effort necessary to make up for what's no longer in place with Anthony and Max's departure. And I'm really happy with what LeBron's been doing these last couple of weeks. Just keep it up and keep your patience is what I tell him. Because that patience, it's going to pay off. We need not forget what we just picked up. This is somebody who scored 70-something points in a basketball game not too long ago. This ain't just a chubby guy who we need to figure out how to work into the equation. This is one of the greatest basketball players that ever played a game alongside you, Bron. So the patience that you have towards him, I think is going to get the most out of him. When you accept him, he'll really be cool. But if he feels like you don't accept him, or if he feels like you don't believe, that probably tumbles forward to nothing good for any of us. So that's what I would say, man. Keep your patience with young Luka. He looks older than he is. You see, Luka looks like he's 28, 29 years old, but he's a young guy, and you know, I think that's what we need to always remember when we're asking to understand certain things that maybe he doesn't get just yet. Yeah, so that's what I would say. And he's under a lot of scrutiny, man. These people are coming down on him in a very negative way, man. You know how that goes. If anybody knows how that goes, it's Bron. So just, you know, I think patience for all of us, for him, is good, and keeping a good and supportive attitude about him. Whether he's making the best decisions in the short term or not, I think he'll come around to understand why the best decisions are for him before it's over with. So that's what we're counting on. Because, you know, if he's ornery or doesn't want to make the changes or keeps having setbacks, you can lose your faith in a guy. And he ain't the guy to lose faith in, not with what he can do. I don't think so. So we encouragement, positivity, you know, and not doing too much or too little. The standings are going to speak for themselves. Some of these games we can win. Some of them we may not be able to. Already having that worked into our equation as it pertains to our temperament, I think is extremely important for the overall environment for everybody on the team. So, yeah, that's my point of view, man. I think chemistry is going to be fine in the long term. I think these are pretty solid personalities. They just got to learn one another. They're going to hold each other accountable. You know, LeBron and Luka are going to figure it out. Their style of play is complementary to one another, but I think we're going to have to wait that out before it actually starts to look like it complements one another. I think the fit between Luka and Kyrie is more difficult than the fit for Luka and LeBron, and they definitely figured that out. Luka and Kyrie figured that out. I didn't even know if it was possible. They did. They looked great together by the time that ended. And so for me, if Luka could work that out with Kyrie, I don't really have too many questions of whether or not he could work that out with LeBron. None, really. It's just how do we have the patience, and will we lose our cool while we start dropping in the standings, hurting the chemistry? That's what we got to not do. And if we can get through these dog days, when guys do get to know one another, oh, it's gonna be special, a different kind of special than what we've even AD and Bron, different kind of special. And so that's what I got to say, man. And Luka's scoring numbers will go up. That's inevitable. It will go up. I don't think he's gonna be a 15-point per game guy for much longer. So I would just tell people, don't get too frustrated with that. Don't think he's like a lesser version of Max Christie or something like that. That's not what this is. So yeah, that's my point of view. That's what I kind of wanted to bring to the table today. Of course, we got this game tonight, 7 o'clock, against the Portland Trail Blazers. It's very important that we try to get this victory, but it also may be impossible. You know, you never know. But the Lakers, if they take this game seriously, keep it on high alert. Portland's lost 3 straight. Maybe we can continue to eat away at a team that obviously wants to really tank, but have found something within themselves to where maybe winning can be a win in their mind too. So it can go a lot of different ways. I expect that the Los Angeles Lakers are going to find a way to get the most out of themselves eventually, but we're going to have to be patient with them. So that's pretty much what I got to say. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching.